8 victims, $50,000, and the biggest scam known in VTuber history. From fall of 2022 to the end of spring 2023, an animation company known as Studio Cell worked to create animations for various VTubers. Except the company barely created anything. On May 24th, 2023, Bao the Whale VTuber went live with an unfortunate announcement. She had been scammed of all of the money she earned from a past subathon. While initially she didn't want to share too many details, later that day she announced on Twitter that she had lost around $34,000 to an animation studio that she had commissioned to make videos which had failed to even start. The man behind this scam is one James Wick. He's a man of the private persuasion. There's not a lot of information on who James Wick is, so most of what we know is from those who have claimed to work with him in the past. According to those sources, at an unknown time around 1 year ago, James Wick worked for and was fired from Tonari Animation. Tonari Animation is a well-known and reputable company that has worked on several high-profile pieces of animation in the past. Outside the anime industry, Tonari is known for working on music videos for various VTubers, most notably for Hololive's Garagura and Niji-sanji's Renzoto. Needless to say, Tonari Animation has a good reputation for business. Once separated from the company, James set up his own animation studio called Studio Cell, and in October 2022, he began to take on several clients using his time from Tonari as a draw. He managed to hook 3 VTubers. These were Onigiri, Nemo, and Girl DM, with each talent hiring him to provide some form of animation. According to James's own statement released on May 30th, 2023, Onigiri was charged $5,000 after she commissioned an original lore video. According to Giri, although this video was eventually finished, it was finalized in a state where half of the original promises and assets were missing. The original expected date was in February 2023. However, after it was finally sent to her in March, it still needed correction and was finally finished in May 2023. This video is the only known commissioned piece which Studio Cell has managed to complete. Nemu was the next commissioner on October 22nd, this time to help debut a new outfit as well as tell some Christmas lore. She was charged $2,500 and eventually Studio Cell failed to deliver on the original expected date. The delivery date was eventually revised and reset for May 2023. According to Nemu herself, she was shown some storyboards and other starting elements on time initially, but as the dates grew closer to her deadlines, she saw no evidence that her stuff was being completed. Girl DM's project is where things start to get a little bit messier. She was charged an unknown amount for updated graphics, backgrounds, and other animated elements for her stream. These were intended for her anniversary stream on May 7th. The initial deadline for delivery was flexible, but around the end of 2022, according to Girl DM herself. On April 13th, James Wick cancelled her order, and Girl DM has not been refunded as of the time of writing. These 3 were Studio Cell's initial 3 clients. Now, taking advantage of his newfound reputation, James began to take on additional orders from Saraway, Giga, Vienna, and Captain Hannah, and most notably, Bao the Whale VTuber. Saraway's commission was placed first on November 6, 2022. Her project ended up being handled quite poorly, and it was perhaps Saraway's project which set the stage for Studio Cell's collapse. Saraway was initially quoted around $16,000 to $20,000 for her project, although she claims she ended up paying around $32,000. Bao is perhaps the biggest tragedy out of all of them. According to her, she was charged a total of $34,000 and has yet to see a refund. She initially commissioned a music video on December 4th, which was discussed from December to March. While a few stylistic choices were discussed, nothing was ever created past a few initial sketches and pre-planning. Giga, or General Giga, commissioned a set of backgrounds and animated notifications as Girl DM did. She was initially quoted $7,200 with a deposit of $3,600 with an expected deadline of spring 2023. Vienna ordered stream elements such as a starting soon screen, notification animations, and so on, with the project starting on February 19th, with the expected finish date being at the end of March. According to James Wick's response, March 17th was where he began to run into problems. His team fell apart due to internal complications. Around this time, he had failed to deliver an adequate product to Onigiri, and while she received the video, it required heavy revision. Saruway's project also crashed and burned around this time, with Saruway taking control over her project and James being ousted from management. Evidently, there were a lot of conflicts between artists, directors, and other staff. James ended up not paying the staff and animators, so Saruway had to do it herself, which later became a negotiating point between Saruway and James. As of the time of writing, Saruway has paid more than $32,000 and expects a refund of at least $13,000, which has not been made. After the Saruway incident, James was without a studio because all of his staff left the projects. This meant that other projects were now in question, and he contacted his other clients. Giga, Vienna, and Hannah were all able to procure refunds with PayPal's support because each of them were in the dispute window. On March 18th, James was sent to the hospital after he claims he attempted suicide. He remained there until March 26th, when he began to coordinate the remnants of his studio once again. On May 24th, after Bao went live to explain that she had been scammed, and after Bao had named James on May 29th, what little remained of Studio Cell collapsed. James quickly deleted his own personal Twitter with no public archives that I've been able to locate, and the other 7 victims came forward to support Bao and also gave their own sides of the story. Although not directly related to the scam, it was also discovered that James Wick had been shit-talking the VTuber Merryweather behind his back, causing Merryweather to take a hit to his own reputation.
So I didn't know this until like a month or so ago. But this guy is the same guy who has been going around the industry talking shit about me and my studio.
Those who worked with James in the past also came forwards to discuss what it was like working with him. James's past as an organizer of SawaCon was brought up specifically to demonstrate how bad he was at organizing. SawaCon existed for 3 years, from 2019 to 2021, although the con in 2021 seems to have been cancelled. From the information on their website, SawaCon did fairly well, and even managed to get a couple of popular voice actors to attend, such as Austin Tyndall. On March 30th, James posted his own response detailing his side of the story. It gives out concrete numbers of how much each victim was charged, few of which have been disputed by the VTubers themselves, as well as background details as to what happened behind the scenes. However, the response is not a very good defense of James's actions, as it doesn't justify anything that James did. In my opinion, it's less of a defense and more of a confession. May 31st was the last update to the story, with James posting a second update saying he would no longer discuss the matter publicly, despite initially promising a second part to his write-up. In the aftermath, the affected VTubers lost around $50,000 from what we know. Bao lost around $34,000 and Saruway lost $13,000 for a total of $47,000. Nemu gave James around $2,500 as a deposit, and although Girl DM's total loss is unknown since she asked for similar items as Giga, DM probably lost around $3,000 to $5,000 as well. Vienna, Giga, and Hannah were all within PayPal dispute window and managed to get refunds. So initially, when I was looking into this, I wanted to make sure that James Wick was as bad as people were making him out to be. And the reason I wanted to do this quick check is because there have been a lot of situations where innocent people have been attacked in a mob. For example, case of Quite. So at first I was looking towards the fact that he offered refunds as proof or evidence of his good intentions. And the more I looked into the situation, the less redeemable I found James's actions to actually be. Although he did offer refunds, he only ever gave them to 3 individuals who were within the PayPal dispute window. The remaining 5 have either not been refunded or have not been publicly refunded. It's possible that they did get refunded and then just didn't announce it and let the situation just kind of slide. On top of that, there's also a second problem with what James did, and that's that he kept on taking on additional projects even though he really wasn't even working on the ones that he already had. The best example here is probably Bao's case, where she commissioned something on December 4th and then proceeded to not have any progress made up until the day her project was canceled. And that's kind of what pushes it into the it's probably a scam territory for me, where it might not be a scam technically on the technical legal definition, but it's close enough to the point where it could be considered one. With that said, thank you for watching this video. I know that this video is 2 weeks after the news, but I like taking my time and I have a very slow video production pipeline. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll be seeing all of you in the future.